What's up, guys? Reapshow here. Just got back from seeing Hard Eyes. Let's talk about it. Hard Eyes is a 2025 holiday-themed slasher set on Valentine's Day, directed by Josh Rubin, who did Werewolves Within, and stars Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding. Gonna keep this relatively spoiler-free. It is still in theaters, so if you have not yet seen it, please check it out and then come back. Starting things off with the positives. The gore and kills are awesome in this movie. Really starts off strong with the gore. The gore is a pretty healthy mix of CGI and practical, but if you utilize CGI right, it can serve the practical effects, and that's what you get here. I think that it's a pretty healthy balance of the two, and there aren't really too many moments that really stick out that say that is CGI. I think that it works pretty well. Kind of moving into the killer design. The overall design is awesome. Really like the overall killer design, really like the presence that he brings, as well as the mask, obviously, with the heart eyes, as well as the weapons that he uses. He uses several different weapons in this movie, but there is one in particular that he consistently uses that kind of disarms a common trope in slasher movies of how does the killer just keep catching up to the victims, right? This kind of disarms that, and you'll know what I mean when you see it. And I really appreciated that. Moving into the humor, I think the humor overall works pretty good. I'd say it's about 85 to 90% effective for me, at least. So really worked for me. And then the acting, I think that the two leads have some really good chemistry. It's realistic chemistry too, you know. And I think that, you know, Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding really kind of get you to care about them, and ultimately you're rooting for them in the end. Moving into the mix. Now, the first thing I would say is the pacing between kills. Like I was saying, it starts off strong, but there is a pretty good chunk of the movie that you don't really get any kills. It's kind of building the story, getting you to care about the characters, and that's good. But ultimately, I come to slashers for the kills, and you get a lot of them. But like I said, I would have liked a little more peppered throughout that little chunk of time in the film that you don't really get a whole lot of it. It's really not a make it or break it for me, but that is one thing I would say. Also, the tone. Overall, I really appreciate the fact that they balance romance, comedy, and horror slasher elements all together. I think that they're balanced pretty well, honestly. But what I would say is they kind of have to balance all of those themes together, and sometimes they will kind of conflict with each other. Well, you run into something that feels not very realistic, but then, you know, the characters are portrayed very realistically, or the killer is very serious, but then there's comedy, right? I appreciate all of those elements, but sometimes, like I said, when they kind of cross so much, it does run into a couple little minor bumps in the road. But overall, I think that it flows pretty well together. Finally, moving on to the negatives, the only thing I really would say would be the killer reveal. Now, this is something that most slasher movies kind of suffer from, is the killer reveal's never quite as cool as the killer itself. And, you know, it almost feels like a little like separate from the actual killer, because the killer is taken very seriously in the actual killing. When he's stalking and killing, it's very serious, right? And then you get to this reveal and it kind of switches up the tone, and, you know, it is a little conflicting, right? But overall, I really dug this movie. I appreciated the fact that it was a healthy balance of those three genres, and it overall worked really well. There is a mid-credit scene, so stick around for that mid-credit scene. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. Slasher movies are my favorite horror subgenre, so I'm gonna go see it, whether it's terrible, great, or somewhere in the middle, right? I think this falls on the higher side of somewhere in the middle. I really enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No. but it's a nice addition to this new renaissance of slashers, right? And I put it right up there with Thanksgiving. I really enjoyed this movie, and I'm definitely going to be adding it to my slasher collection over here. So yeah, really enjoyed this movie. What do you guys think? If you guys seen Hard Eyes, let me know in the comments. That's it for now. Stay tuned for more. Peace, guys.